Hey, what's up, everybody? It's AlbyMTG, and today we're going to be looking at some of the mana fixing in Conspiracy 2. So I figured most people probably want to know about the mana fixing in Conspiracy 2, but to actually go through and look at all the cards, kind of do all of the in-depth comparing them to one another, seems kind of time-consuming. So I figured I would do it all for you guys, and then you guys can just watch the video, learn about all the different mana fixing, and then kind of decide as you guys are drafting what mana fixing you're specifically looking for in the type of deck that you're trying to draft. So we have a lot of mana fixing in this set. It's actually kind of surprising coming from a set like Eldritch Moon. When you draft that, you really only have like Terrarian. I feel like I'm probably going to be missing things. Terrarian, a Warped Landscape if you in the Shadows over Innistrad pack. And I feel like I'm missing something like obvious. Oh, Primal Druid as the other one. So I feel like that's, and then Shadows also has like the the somewhat guild gates. They're not necessarily guild gates, but pretty much just the same thing. Kind of reprints, but without the word guild gate in them. So, but anyway, you guys aren't here for that. You guys are here for the mana fixing in Conspiracy 2. So I will keep you guys from waiting, and we'll go ahead and just get into this. So first off, we have the 5 basic land cyclers. So these are going to be cards that you guys are going to run in pretty much any 3 to 4 color deck, definitely 5 color deck as well if you're running 5 color. They do have high mana cost for actual effects in the game, like for Traumatic Visions, countering a spell should not cost 5 mana. Sylvan Bounty, it should not cost that much to gain 8 life, but they're most likely just going to be used for the basic land cycling ability. So you can go ahead and say you're playing, I don't know, red, green, white, and you play a mountain, you play a plains, but you don't have the forest in your hand, so you need to go find a forest. You can just cycle the Gleam of Resistance by paying 1 and a white at the end of turn. Make sure you do, whenever you guys are cycling, make sure you do it at the end of turn as well. You want to kind of outplay your opponent a little bit by making them think that you might have some, I don't know, like instant speed removal or something like that, which is a thing in this format. Murder got reprinted, so there is definitely some instant speed removal. Obviously, if you're in red, white, green, like the example I just said, you're not going to be playing Murder, but who knows? So you just kind of have to outplay your opponent with the mind game tactic, make them think that you have something when you really don't, and all you're going to do is just basic land cycle at the end of turn. So those are probably the best cyclers, or they're probably the best mana fixing in here, other than one that we're going to get to on the next slide. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into that. Here we have Shimmering Grotto, Exotic Orchard, and Evolving Wilds. Evolving Wilds is obviously the best mana fixing in just any format that Evolving Wilds is printed in. It's just, you tap it, you go find whatever land you need. If you're playing a 5 color deck, you go find, whatever. Even if you're playing a 2 color deck, Evolving Wilds can sometimes still be solid because it acts kind of as fetch lands do, where it thins out your deck so that later on in the game you're not drawing into lands as much. It seems like a very insignificant amount that it helps, but mathematically it does help. So Evolving Wilds, definitely the best mana fixing in the format. So if you can find an Evolving Wilds and you're planning on playing a 3 color deck or more than 3 colors, definitely pick up an Evolving Wilds. Not a big fan of Shimmering Grotto. I feel like it's probably one of the worst ways to get mana fixing in the format, but if you're desperate for mana fixing, definitely pick up a Shimmering Grotto. Exotic Orchard, you're not going to see that often because of it being a rare, but it could be good fixing depending on what your opponents are playing. Going on to the next slide, we have some just random mana fixing that they have in here, which comes in the form of Borderland Explorer, Explosive Vegetation, and Lay of the Land. I'm not sure how I feel about Lay of the Land. It seems okay, but late in the game, it seems like it's just not going to be what you want. Explosive Vegetation is always good. Just go find some basic lands. And then Borderland Explorer I actually really like. Even though it says that you have to discard a card to get the true advantage out of it, it still comes on a 3/1 body for 2 mana, which is really good. Getting a 3 mana or getting a 2 mana 3/1 something like a Devilthorn Fox, you'll play those in Shadows over Innistrad Limited. So you're definitely going to be playing this guy in Conspiracy 2 Limited, but he also has that potential upside, which most likely, I'm assuming, it will be used for the fixing. But I can definitely see situations where if you have all 3 colors, you just don't play him, and you just play him as a 3/1 for 2, which is perfectly fine. Next, we have some conspiracies here. We have Emissary's Ploy, and then Sovereign's Realm. I'm not sure how I feel about Sovereign's Realm yet. It seems kind of sketchy. Not a big fan, but I guess I would have to actually draft it to see how good it actually is, or at least how it plays out. Emissary's Ploy, I think, is fine. It's not amazing, but like if you want to say 3 mana or something like that, you could, in the example that I made before, where it was Fiery Fall, or where you were playing green, white, and red, so you had Fiery Fall, Gleam of Resistance, and Sylvan Bounty as your cycling lands. You could play like an Emissary's Ploy and then splash black for Murder, because you could pay whatever colors you wanted to play Murder then, and just completely blow them out of nowhere. Surprise them to play it. You would have to name 3 as your number, because Murder has a CMC of 3. So it seems okay. I don't know if it's like super first pickable, but it is solid mana fixing, and that's all that really matters in this video, is just what is the good mana fixing, what mana fixing is there, how does it compare to the other mana fixing. Then finally we have the last 3, which are mana fixing, which you're most likely not going to see because they are at the rare and even mythic in Sylvala's case of rarity, which I know in the last slide, the 2 conspiracies, one was a mythic and one was a rare, so you're not super likely to see them as well. And then Exotic Orchard from earlier was a rare as well. But here we have Birds of Paradise, Regal Behemoth, and then the new Selvala. New Selvala seems interesting. I don't think you want to use her as much for mana fixing, but technically she can be for mana fixing. Regal Behemoth seems fine. It seems just perfectly playable. And then Birds of Paradise is obviously one of the best mana fixers in, any format. I think I'm actually not sure if it sees any legacy play. I know it sees modern play in like a bunch of different decks like Kiki Cord and like all those other kind of things. I don't think it sees legacy play, but I don't really keep up with legacy a whole lot, so I'm not 100% sure. But it will be really, really good mana fixing if you manage to draft it. I would definitely, if you can draft the Birds of Paradise, I would definitely do it. So yeah, there you guys have it. That is all the mana fixing and how they kind of compare to one another. You guys can go through and rewatch the video to kind of compare things one-on-one. Like if you want to see what is the best of the basic cycling lands, I would have to say, in my opinion, it's probably Gleam of Resistance is the best, followed by Absorbus, Fiery Fall, Traumatic Visions, then Sylvan Bounty, and then the lands, I think Exotic Orchard is probably the best of the lands, followed by Evolving Wilds. Exotic Orchard can be a little bit shaky because it depends on what your opponents are playing, but I still think it's really good mana fixing, and I would probably take that over the Evolving Wilds, just because you're more likely to see the Evolving Wilds since it is printed at the common rarity. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe if you guys are not subscribed yet, and for more videos like this, tell me if you guys, I'm messing up the outro, fantastic, but honestly, if you guys did enjoy it, just go ahead, tell me in the comments below. We could have a good discussion about some Magic. Tell me what you guys think is the best mana fixing in the format, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.